Today on Locked on Buckeyes, we discuss TreVeyon Henderson's return to the field and if the Buckeyes can trust Kyle McCord.
You are Locked on Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank God it's Friday, Buckeye fans, because that means we're one day away from the Buckeyes returning to the field. What is up, Buckeye fans? This is Locked on Buckeyes. I am your host, Jay Stevens, and today's episode is brought to you by our friends at GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. During today's episode, once again, it's my guy, my friend Cory Thompson of Ohio State Football with Scarlet and Great on the YouTube. He is back with us once again. I was recently on his show discussing the Michigan scandal. He's here today. Michigan's going to come up in the scandal because more bad news and abnormal news comes out about that. But today's all about the Buckeyes. Got a game tomorrow. Cory and I will discuss that on today's show. Cory, the last time we talked, you and I discussed the scandal at Michigan. And as the week goes on, more news comes out. What's your thoughts about what's going on in Ann Arbor?
Look, it ain't good. That's for sure. That being said, it is different from the FBI investigation on
Correct.
Matt Weiss former. So I'm not going to combine the two. But they just got things going on in Ann Arbor. To me, I just want to say one thing about it, and then we can get on to the Buckeyes or however you go, because you're the host of the most here. I'm not going to tell you how to run your show, obviously. I just say, look, people who think, well, stealing signs is normal, you're not understanding it. It's the way they stole them, not the actual stealing of sign. Nobody in Buckeye Nation cares that signs were stolen. It happens to everybody in game. Normally, you can figure it out in game. Venables was really good at it in game. That's fine. Then you got to change them up. But when you're paying somebody to go film, and by the way, against NCAA bylaws, go to film other teams in an in-person advanced scouting and film their sideline and then take it back and then start deciphering what the signs are. I can tell you Franklin doesn't like it. Shiano doesn't like it. Bob Stoops says it's wrong. Matt Rule says it's wrong. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Cory, let's just leave it there. You and I could do another 30 minutes or an hour on that topic. One thing we could also do with 30 minutes or an hour on is TreVeyon Henderson returning to the field, because as Ryan Day said on Thursday, Henderson is full go for Saturday's game against the Wisconsin Badgers. His absence is felt. You and I have our own thoughts about Henderson and his play and how much he should play on the field, but realistically, and reality is, when he's not there this season, you can feel it. And I wonder if the Buckeyes will be able to feel him back on the field tomorrow.
I think so. The only thing I wish it were going to be Henderson and Hayden is the RB1, RB2. It won't be. Because Chip and Mayan are healthy. And look, they're capable. I'm not dissing them. But Hayden we think he's special, right?
Yeah.
But they want to redshirt him. He'll be the guy next year, most likely. Okay, fine. Henderson being back just gives you that another explosive player. Look, he's not always perfect. I'm not saying his vision's perfect. Sometimes you wonder where he's even looking, or you could have cut it back. You didn't have to try to spread out the sideline there. Okay, fine. There's those little imperfections and flaws in his game, but you can't tell me that when he does break a hole, you're thinking, oh man, he could go. That if he just jukes that safety, it's gone. It's gone. He is so explosive. We don't have another guy on the field like that. At running back, we do at receiver, obviously, but at running back, he is literally, it just adds to the explosiveness of the offense, takes a little pressure off Kyle McCord in the passing game, takes a little pressure off the offensive line, quite frankly, because he can hit that hole quick before they get to that second level. It'll be interesting. I think you're going to see a different run scheme when he's in the game, because he's more of a counter runner than the gap scheme and everything like that. But that being said, I'm happy to have him back. He's been playing well this year. Again, I hate saying it because everybody's like, well, he does. Stop. You want an explosive player on the field.
You do. You do. That's why you have the receivers you have. That's why you have that room so full of all of the talent. You want explosive players on the field. And you said it so well. RB1 Henderson, RB2 Hayden. That's what we both would like to have. We also understand that there's guys that are older, more experienced, that are out there that have done great things at Ohio State. Chip Trainum, we know what he's done this season. Mayan Williams. Remember the 2022 season he had a year ago. I wonder, Corey, as we progress, and Wisconsin tomorrow, it's a road game. Camp Randall is a night game. That environment's going to be different. I wonder how much we see Henderson, Chip, and Mayan on the field, because at some point I wonder if Henderson's return to the field, he's so excited, the adrenaline's pumping, but man, sometimes that crowd can get to you, and as you get back on the field, try you get excited, the adrenaline, you're talking trash to the fans, all of a sudden you're not playing within the confines of what the Buckeyes are trying to do offensively. So I wonder, is Henderson on a pitch count tomorrow? Do we see a lot of Chip in mind? We see all three guys on the field at separate times. I wonder what Tony Alford and Ryan Day do with the rotation at running back tomorrow.
I think it's going to be a load management situation with Mayan. He took a beating against Penn State.
You mean load management, kind of like LeBron playing only 28 to 30 minutes a game this season? Except
Mayan's not getting paid, $40 million a year or whatever.
You're correct.
To do a less physical sport. Look, I think Mayan, he was the bell cow against Penn State. He did an admirable job. It wasn't perfect, but that's not all his fault. We all know.
Right.
That being said, that Penn State defense is for real, and they'll punish you. And I'd say, Mayan, as big as you are and as tough as you are, and I respect the heck out of you, dude, take a back seat, let Henderson be the RB1, take the majority of the carries, and then let Chip kind of spell him once in a while. And then let Mayan have a load management week, and then maybe bring him back into the next week. It seems like that's the way Alfred's doing it. The rotation seems a little bit like, give this guy a rest, let this guy go, because we have such depth at the running back position. It's not saving us from getting injuries like it did. I mean, last year we got injuries. This year we got injuries. It just isn't saving us. Maybe Henderson's not. I love TreVeyon Henderson. I'm not trying to knock him, but maybe he's just, for whatever reason, he's a little injury prone.
Yeah. Which is possible. That might be it.
And that being said, I think he's got 3 weeks now. He's been resting. It's, let him go at it. Wisconsin. He'll probably take a beating. Wisconsin's going to be a physical football team. But that being said, I think his explosiveness counters what Wisconsin likes to do defensively.
Thinking about some numbers, and I was looking at some stats earlier today, Corey. I don't try to dive into the box score all the time, but I think after 6 or 7 games you play, you can kind of see what an offense is, defense is, and what the defense is doing and how many yards they're giving up every single game. Wisconsin defensively, their numbers aren't bad. Only giving up 196.3 passing yards per game, only giving up 137.9 rushing yards per game. And this is one of those games, as you get closer to that battle and the showdown with the Wolverines, the Buckeyes need to figure something out on the ground. And if they can figure out Henderson back, and if they can figure out how to have a 3-headed monster heading into that game Thanksgiving weekend, this is a week you can start to do it. It's on the road. It's going to be loud. 80,000 fans, I'm sure, or plus will be in that stadium. This is a week, and this is where you can build confidence saying, we know what Wisconsin can do as far as stopping the run, but if we can figure out after a week like we had last week and all 3 of our top guys healthy, they can figure out a run game and a formula that works and build confidence over the next few weeks. That's great as you get closer to the battle with the Wolverines.
I agree. And I'll tell you what the first good sign was from Penn State, the Penn State game, was Ryan Day not giving up on the run.
I was so surprised by that. I wasn't expecting it at all.
That's not Ryan Day's history.
No.
And but I'll tell you what also contributes to that is Kyle McCord is not CJ Stroud. He's not Justin Fields. He's not Dwayne Haskins. And so when you have quarterbacks that are Cadillacs like that, you think you can throw your way out of every problem. Kyle doesn't really offer you that solution. And I'm not knocking Kyle. I like Kyle McCord. It's not an anti-Kyle rant. It's a matter of, okay, so he's not those guys. Maybe not. Maybe he will be next year. I don't know. But he's not this year. He's not those guys. So what you got to rely on other ways to move the football. So Ryan Day against Penn State did not give up on the run, even though it was really ineffective in the second half. But you got to keep them honest. And that takes pressure off of your young quarterback. So my belief going forward is that he's going to find a way to make it work, and he's going to keep pounding his head against the wall until it starts to work, and maybe start finding a solution to the issue. That's so I don't know if it'll happen like this Saturday or next week or whatever, but I feel like over the next month we're gonna start to see cracks and figure it out because he's not giving up on it.
We got to hear Corey kind of touch on Kyle McCord just a little bit. We're going to dive into more of that McCord conversation next and answer the question: can the Buckeyes trust Kyle McCord tomorrow against Wisconsin? We tackle that topic next on Locked on Buckeyes. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn. Once again, visit FanDuel.com/LOCKEDON and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. This episode is brought to you by GameTime. You shouldn't have to worry when you're buying tickets to your next big event. GameTime is a fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. GameTime has deals on tickets right up to the start of the event and even an hour after it starts. It's the place to find last-minute seats. With zone deals, you pick the section and GameTime picks the seats for an average of 18% savings. And the GameTime guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, GameTime will credit you 110% of the difference. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download GameTime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Corey, it's clear you and I both like Kyle McCord. Mm-hmm. I think you and I both understand that walking into this season, the quarterback competition was not settled in the offseason. It went into the regular season. He's also coming after a couple years where we literally saw the best maybe passer or pure passer of the football at Ohio State that either of us have ever seen wear the Scarlet and Great. So Kyle McCord came in, he had big shoes to fill, and it wasn't easy. It wasn't pretty at times. It wasn't a smooth transition like it was for Justin Fields or a few games in for Stroud. We knew, hey, he's got the goods. We know Kyle McCord can do some good things on the field. Still looking to see it happen for all 4 quarters. Do you think McCord will struggle tomorrow against Wisconsin?
Yes. That's just all I'm going to – from now on, I think he's going to have his struggles and ups and downs during games. I mean, against Penn State, he actually started off fast. He was 5 of 5. And then he just went downhill quick. I mean, sure, some of it's just him misfiring because he thinks he has to, be – I don't know if he's trying to be Brett Favre or what, but he's rocketing some of those balls in there and he's putting all of his body into it, and it's going to make it a little less accurate. And it's like, dude, just be CJ. Put a little touch underneath it. It'll get there. But I don't know if he was ever going to do that or what, but it doesn't – I think he's going to have his moments where we're like, oh, geez, Kyle, what is going on here? And then you're going to have your moments like, man, he's a legend. He's great. He's just a roller coaster this year, and that's okay. If you keep winning ball games, that's okay. People keep worrying about the future. Well, this won't beat Michigan. We don't know yet. It's a month away. You don't know how that game's going to unfold. Maybe Kyle's a terrible game that game and then wins in the last second like he's been doing. Maybe this game. I actually think Wisconsin's going to give us a game. I really do. Luke Fickell is a great coach. They're going to be physical. They're going to be tough. Luke Fickell knows Ryan Day in and out. It's like I'm just trying to say, there's going to be a bit of a struggle here and there. So be cautious of that. But I think it's Camp Randall. It's at night. It's a rocking stadium. It's Ohio State, Wisconsin. I think Kyle McCord's going to have his ups and downs. I think the crowd's going to get to him at times. But you know what? The great thing about Kyle McCord right now is we know he doesn't stay down.
Right. He does not stay down. And honestly, that's one of the best attributes about him. Because if he did stay down, Corey, I don't think Ohio State beats Notre Dame. They probably beat Maryland because of the defense. But if he gets down and has those down moments and stays down, Buckeyes might have 2 losses on the season. And I'm not trying to be exaggerate. Literally, the Notre Dame game and the Penn State game could be losses if Kyle McCord got down and stayed down in that mindset. One thing we don't know, which is going to help how much we trust and believe in McCord on Saturday, is the status of Emeka Abuka. Henderson back, yes. But not having your number 2 receiver who is going to be a future first-round pick, I think it's an easy statement to make. That's one thing from McCord where he's looking out there and he's like, man, the guy who I relied on, sometimes my security blanket. We know about Harrison Jr., but if you look up and down this season, Abuka's been the guy that makes big catches and is kind of just the guy that gets open. You need somebody to get open quickly in different areas. Yeah, Harrison Jr. can do it. Did it a week ago. But so can Abuka week in and week out. Not knowing the status of Abuka for tomorrow's game kind of makes me nervous in how much I trust McCord going on the road to Camp Randall. This is something I noticed and heard earlier today, Corey. Ryan Day's never been to Camp Randall. The last time the Buckeyes went there was, I believe, the year before he came on staff in 2017. And so it's not just
been that long.
Dude, it's been forever. It's not okay. I also thought it was odd that Ohio State hadn't been to Purdue since 2018. I know the big, like the West, East, all that stuff going back and forth, but that was odd to me. But for Camp Randall, having a new quarterback is one thing. Having a coach that is going there for the first time to coach at not just head coach, any level, that's odd as well. So that combination of not knowing Abuka's status for Saturday, I really want to trust McCord. I really want to believe he can go there and get the job done. I don't know, man. Because sometimes if he starts slow, yeah, Penn State's one thing. But if you do that consistently, and I mean we know somebody out there in Ann Arbor's cheating, man, that some things are going to be a recipe for disaster if you rely on one guy and he's not there week after week after week, and that 1 week he's not there, you can't figure out how to move the ball down the field without him.
It's going to be interesting, building off what you just said, how they decide to cover Marvin. Are they going to – because, I mean, Penn State didn't even really bracket him. No. So is Wisconsin going to do that? Are they going to play a lot of zone and bracket on Marvin and say, look, you beat us with anybody else, you're not beating us with Marvin? I think Cade Stover will obviously have an impact on the game. He has every game. Cade – I'll say it right now on your show, best receiving tight end in Ohio State history. I don't really care. And I grew up with Ricky Dudley, and those things. I mean, but I've never seen a tight end in Ohio State do the things he's doing. But I think he'll have an impact on the game. He always does. That number 2 guy, somebody's got to step up. If it's not going to be Abuka, and Abuka, even if he played, would be hampered.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to step up. Tate, it's not going to be Fleming. I think Fleming just kind of is what he is. He's Evan Spencer. Obviously Ennis isn't going to play unless it's a blowout. So it's got to be Tate, you'd think. Maybe Xavier Johnson has a couple big plays, but we don't really use him as a straight-up wide receiver. I don't know, So it's Marvin. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how Ryan Day schemes Marvin open, too. Does he run more mesh routes, get him underneath the zone and let him work? Because, when Marvin, throughout his career here, has not been a guy that gets yards after the catch.
No, he does not.
And but against Penn State, he did. We finally got to see him move, and Purdue even a little bit in the seams and the flats and stuff like that. We got to see Marvin be a little bit more. They'd be a little bit more creative with Marvin's route tree. They're gonna have to continue to do that. You got to get 18 the ball. You can't just have him as a decoy because there's nobody else right now on the roster because Abuka's hurt that you can trust to be that superstar playmaker. And the only good thing I'll say about this is even if the offense struggles a little bit, I trust our defense to hold Wisconsin in check for most of the night.
Speaking of the defense, Corey, it's like you read my mind because I went back on my phone and got a stat of a really talented Badger running back who the Buckeyes defense will have to slow down and corral tomorrow. We dive into the defense and provide our predictions for tomorrow's game. It's coming at you next on Locked On Buckeyes. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the largest independently owned daily fantasy sports platform in North America. They are the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Prize Picks is the most fun I've had, winning up to 25 times my money this football season. Prize Picks is really simple to play. I can make my picks and submit my entry in less than 60 seconds. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what make PrizePicks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Go to prizepicks.com/lockedoncollege and use code LockedOnCollege for your first deposit match up to $100. Once again, go to prizepicks.com/lockedoncollege and use code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for your first deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy. Cory, one thing with Wisconsin, we always know they have really good running backs. It doesn't matter the year, doesn't matter the coach. They got really good backs. Luke Fickell did not recruit Braylon Allen to Wisconsin, but he is the coach of Braylon Allen this season. Braylon Allen, a talented running back, 120 carries this season, 704 rushing yards, averaging 100 yards per game, 5.9 yards per carry, and 8 touchdowns. He's also the second on the team with 23 receptions, second most receptions on the team with 23 at running back. Now, the receiving yards aren't great at 96, but he is a threat out of the backfield to at least catch the ball. Yards after the catch or even being downfield 10 yards might not be the case, but he'll still catch the ball. The Buckeyes defense, maybe you and I have some issues trusting McCord. Neither one of us have issues trusting the Buckeyes defense. And I'm going to be looking for really Tyleik Williams this week. I can talk all 4 guys, but my eyes are on number 91. He set free 91 last season. They set that boy free, and he's being a dog all season. I'm watching him because he can be a big force messing up the interior O-line of Wisconsin. Wisconsin always has a really good O-line as well to slow down Braylon Allen. If you slow down Braylon Allen, Wisconsin has a backup quarterback. That might be ball game for the Wisconsin offense as far as how successful they are moving the ball.
You know, I agree with you. I trust the defense. And I agree with you. Braylon Allen's a superstar, great player.
Dude.
But I also, for whatever reason, a little pessimist inside of me is waiting for when we have a game where it doesn't make any sense why the defense can't stop anybody. It's like you have some of those every now and again, and then everybody can jump back on the fire Jim Knowles train because that's what the naysayers are waiting for.
I don't
Wisconsin.
think you or I will ever be on that. At least not this season. Maybe in like 5 years, but not now.
No, I think Jim's fine. Even if they have like a subpar night against Wisconsin, you're coming off an emotional win against Penn State. You got to expect some of that to carry over into the game it came around. This is actually prime positioning for Luke Fickell and Madison to get something done. But I do trust the defense, and I trust Knowles to be able to settle it down and figure it out. If for whatever reason early on they're gashing us, and it's like, okay, this is what they're showing us now. We can adjust to it. Look, we got a great defensive line, and the young guys are coming along. You mentioned Tyleik Williams, who's been a beast all season. Like on Twitter, I say he's a certified beast, and he is. Michael Hall's a nice player. Hasn't had the biggest year, but he's a nice player.
Yeah.
Jack Sawyer's playing better. Quietly playing better.
A lot better.
Exactly. And he may not be getting these huge sack numbers, but he's setting the edge better. He's bullying tackles now. So, and of course, do I need to mention JT? He's a monster. We all know that. Caden Curry, I'll be interested to see on the edge how he handles it. And then, of course, Kenyatta Jackson's another one in there. But Ty Hamilton's another. I mean, I'm just mentioning names, I know, but I like the defensive line. I like who we have.
Ty Hamilton's been great against the run this year. Exactly.
I mean, he's showing flashes of his brother, his older brother.
Yes.
And I miss Donovan. He was so good. The linebacking play kind of concerns me a little bit with the run game because they have been a little bit subpar. But Cody Simon's been playing well.
Yes.
You got to figure he's going to play a lot more. I don't even think the receivers are going to challenge our secondary. If Penn State couldn't do it, if Purdue couldn't do it, I just don't think Wisconsin can do it. This team scored 6 points on Iowa. I know Iowa's got a good defense, but we have a really good defense. And I'm not saying they're only going to score 6 points, but I think I could see a 24-13 type game from Ohio State where it's a little ugly, but you get the win, you get out with the win. You just kind of, okay, we're out of with the win. It was after an emotional victory. The score doesn't look as great as we'd like, but it's okay. Just get out of Wisconsin with the win.
I think I'm going more 34-7 with this game. And my biggest thing is the defense.
You think we're scoring 34?
Yeah, I do.
Hey, credit to you. I hope you're right, man.
It is not even. It's one of those things where it's not Henderson bad. It's not like I think Henderson's going to go off and score 3 touchdowns. I don't think that. I think opposing defenses still respect him a little bit for what he did his freshman year. Not so much last year, and really not. I mean, he's been better this year, but for what he did his freshman season, opposing coaches, especially when you have a defensive mind in Luke Fickell, you can't be out of half a step out of place or a second too slow, because if you are, he's going to get loose. Did it against Notre Dame. I mean, that one run, 61 yards. Take that away. Once again, another thing that's taken away. If it is, the Buckeyes might lose that game. But I'm going 34-7. It's the defense. I truly think, you mentioned the Wisconsin receivers. I give Braylon Allen 1 touchdown. I give Wisconsin nothing else offensively. And defensively, I know the defense has been pretty solid this year. I don't think that they'll be able to do much to slow down Harrison Jr. tomorrow.
Well, you know who their defense coordinator is, right?
I forget his name.
Mike Tressel.
Really?
Yep.
I should know that. I should.
He was the defense coordinator at Cincinnati after Marcus Freeman left, and then it was and then Fickell brought him over. Yeah.
Smart man, Fickell. I wish he was back in Columbus. Honestly, I wish he would come back and find a way to coach here. But no, he's got a good gig in Wisconsin. He's not leaving.
We got a good guy, but I'll tell you, if Ryan Day left, I think Fickell will be my first call.
You want Fickell over? I would say Fickell over Hartline.
I love Hartline, but he is not a head coach yet. He hadn't even called plays.
I'm just pushing buttons here, Corey.
I hear you. All right. No, you got to do it. I get you.
No, honestly, I would go Fickell over Hartline. I think
Fickell would keep Hartline though.
I mean, you'd be stupid not to.
Yeah.
I mean, you would be stupid. I would honestly, in the offseason, let's go a little conversation here before we wrap up the show. I also have something else I want to throw at you that's just not even about like Buckeye football tomorrow on Saturday. I was more Justin Fry, future OC play caller at Ohio State, than Brian Hartline, because I thought Justin Fry would have been better for getting the run game consistent and fixing that. I understand why Hartline got the promotion, but I wonder if the run game would have been better if Justin Fry had more say in decisions made on the offense.
I don't know. I don't know that Hartline really impedes what Justin Fry can do, because Day is still the play caller.
Yeah,
so,
true.
Hartline obviously just has a seat in the room and a bigger voice, and he should. He earned it. I'm not going to take that away from him. I agree with you. I thought Justin Fry was going to be the OC and Hartline would be co-OC. Is kind of how I thought it would be, so they could get Hartline a bump in pay and keep him from going to like. If Hartline would have gone to like Kent State or something as a head coach, I'm like, what are you doing? You know, you're on the fast track. You're in your 30s. Just calm down a little bit. I hate when coaches do that. They just jump at the first head coaching job. It's like grass ain't always greener, man. You could end up derailing your career.
Yeah.
So Hartline's sticking with Ohio State, but we all, like we said, we get why they promoted him. They go on to get him as much money as possible. I wonder if Day's actually starting to groom him to be a play caller. That's what would be interesting. Like maybe next season or something like that. I mean, Day's kind of a control freak to some degree, and most of these coaches are. It's not a knock on Day. I love Ryan Day, but do you think he'll ever like? Sure, Brian, call the play. You know?
I don't. I think that's one thing that he's learned from Urban, because one time, I forget what year was it 15 or 16? One of those years, Urban was getting fed up with the play calls, and he eventually took it over again late in the season. And I think that Ryan Day has that Urban Meyer trait, obsessed over it. Urban was trying to just be a nicer guy and take some stuff off his plate, but at the end of the day, he had to go back and do what he does so well, which is call plays offensively. I do want to close this show out with this thought, and mainly it's because two of the guys that we discussed today that are injured, we don't know the status of Denzel Burke either, so I'm going to throw that out there at the end of the show.
Jermaine Matthews time.
Dude, oh my gosh.
He's a player. He's just a player.
Dude.
You know what's great about him is he'll come up and make tackles too. He's not afraid to get physical.
Yes. That's what I love about him and Igmanosin. They're not afraid to stick their nose in there.
Hancock either. Apparently, Hancock was.
Yeah, we're set at corner for next year and maybe even the year after. I don't know. Things are going well for that group. But I want to close it out with this: Burke, Henderson, Abuka, Harrison Jr. earlier this year. These guys have injuries. I believe Henderson's upper body this year. Last year was lower body. Mayan had a lower body injury.
Yeah.
Grass or turf? This is a conversation that I don't normally discuss
Grass,
here on the
100% grass.
show. I'm more of a grass guy too. I understand. I think I mentioned this to you previously. Turf looks better to just the naked eye. It's better for television, all that kind of stuff. The better surface to play for, I think, is I haven't talked to a scientist. I've played on both surfaces, and I kind of I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but from what football players, professional football players, and from what the NFL has a banned list of turf fields, and you can use this type of turf and not that type of turf. I think grass is the way to go. I think you'll see a lot less injuries at every level of football. If it was just regulated across the country, you have to play football on grass no matter what.
I think there's several things. First of all, the players aren't quite as fast on grass. So maybe the hits that are knocking people out for half a season won't quite have, because you're not able to build up that speed to kill people with it. On top of that, obviously for your knees, it's better on your knees. It's more cushiony when you run. And then furthermore, when you land, you're not. I mean, I remember I'm going back to when Minnesota used to have. I think they still have turf. I don't remember. I don't pay attention to Minnesota football, but when we played Minnesota with Terry Glenn and Bobby Hoying, sorry, one of the most overrated QBs in Buckeye history. But he had a great senior year. I'll give him that. But God, he used to drive me nuts. He threw a ball way over Terry's head, and Terry's Mr. Effort all day, every day. Dove up in the air, caught it, landed on his shoulder. His season's over. And because he busted his shoulder on the turf. And I'm like, if he was coming down on grass, I bet it'd have been a different story. I bet he probably sprained something or been a little hurt, but he wouldn't be on the ground grimacing and freaking out in pain. Because you land on turf and that's concrete underneath that carpet. It's like, what do you expect? I don't care what pads you're wearing. So, there's several reasons I'd go for grass on 100% every day.
Do you see, this last question for you, I'll answer it as well. Do you see Ohio State within the next 3 to 5 years taking the turf out of the shoe and putting grass back in?
Depends on who the next AD is, I guess.
Good point.
That being said, I hope, but I'm not holding my breath because like you said, it looks great. the turf looks amazing. But again, it's if Ryan Day is not screaming, "Hey, it's killing my players," then Ryan Day's not doing his job, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would be. I don't think it's going to. The next AD is pivotal to that actually happening, but I don't think it's going to happen. I would definitely say put grass in, and maybe down the road, the NCAA says, "Hey, everybody has to." I know NCAA does not run college football at this level, but maybe they're going to find a way to get influential and say, "Hey, for the safety of the players, put grass in these stadiums. You guys have the money to do it. Take the turf out. You paid for it to be put in. You paid for it to get taken out and to put grass in. Why do it? For the safety of the players." Cory, love having you on the show. You can follow Cory Thompson on Twitter at Scarlet and Great CT. You can follow me on the same platform at JStevens07. Cory thinks the Buckeyes will win. I think they'll win. What is your score prediction for tomorrow's game? Leave it in the YouTube comment section on this video, or if you're on Apple or Spotify, leave it in the comment section there as well. This has been Locked on Buckeyes here on a Friday. I'll see you next time.